Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you what expression is equal to 1 plus sine theta times 1 minus sine theta divided by sine squared theta for all values of theta where theta is defined. Okay, in other words, we don't want 0 in the denominator. That's what they're just talking about there. Okay, so how do we do this? How do I approach this? Well, let me show you. There is something to make this a lot easier. First of all, you want to make sure that all of your trig functions that I wrote at the top of this section is written down somewhere, or that you have access to those while you're doing these, because it'll just make your life so much easier. And pretty soon you're probably using these so much that you'll have most of them memorized just because you've done so many of these. Anyway, let's go back to the 1 plus sine theta times 1 minus sine theta. So if you remember back in module 5 when we were doing quadratics, when you multiply something that is in the format of a plus b times a minus b, my middle term goes away. So if you'll remember, this is a squared plus ab minus ab minus b squared. The middle terms go away and we just end up with a squared. I'm sorry, not plus. You end up with a squared minus b squared. That's very important to keep the minus there. It's definitely always minus here, okay? So that otherwise it doesn't work. So in this situation, we're going to have the same thing. We're going to go ahead and FOIL this out, and my sine theta minus sine theta is going to go ahead and drop out. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that really quickly, and then we can do this problem really easily. It really helps us out here. So this becomes, when we do this, it becomes 1 plus sine theta. Again, I'm messing up on my minuses here. Oh, don't do that. Don't do as the teacher does. Do as she says, right? Just like your parents would say. All right, so 1 minus sine theta plus sine theta. So that's going to drop out, and then minus sine squared theta, right? 1 times 1 is just 1, so the 1 stays there. So my middle term just drops out, so that top numerator is going to turn into 1 minus sine squared theta. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to rewrite that top part, and we're going to go ahead and rewrite this whole thing, and then we can finish up super easily. So we started off again with 1 plus sine theta times 1 minus sine theta. Be careful again, this only works when you have the same thing with one side a plus and the other side a minus. It doesn't work with plus plus. You're going to end up with a double in the middle. So this is the only way you can drop out that middle term. And then we had sine squared theta on the bottom. So then this equals, once we do this, you end up with, as I showed you above, 1 minus sine squared theta divided by sine squared theta. And here comes the trig identities that you need. So if you look at your identities, you'll notice you have something that says sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. But look at this, we can mess around with all of these identities, not just this one. What we can do is just subtract sine squared theta from each side, and we end up with cosine squared theta equals 1 minus sine squared theta, and that will bring this to substitute here. We can substitute in cosine squared theta. So just leave it like that. So then on the top here, we're going to end up with cosine squared theta over sine squared theta. Now we're going to go back and look at our trig identities. What is cosine over sine? Well, that is cotangent. And since it's squared, we have to square the cotangent as well. So this goes all the way down, simplifies to cotangent squared theta. Okay? So these can be tricky, but if you start learning all these little tricks, like if you see a plus and a minus of the same thing, that's just going to be the 1 minus sine squared. You're going to use your identity there. And then cosine over sine is just cotangent squared. So hopefully this video is helpful, and I will see you guys in the next.